Greetings, friend. You want to look happy like I do? Send $1 to Happy Guy, 742 Evergreen Terrace, Springfield. There's a glitch in the Matrix. There's multiples. Oh no. I actually don't know entirely what I'm going to do tonight, but I did think, first of all, the goal was just to drag my ass over here. Because if I keep dying discs, I'm just going to go broke. So, but doing, I think, a filter comparison is an interesting thing, especially for those of y'all into this dirty, money-sucking pastime, modular synths. Current present company excluded. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll set up really basic of a part, and we'll just kind of flip back and forth between filters and listen to what they sound like. Talk about the pros and cons of each one, and I have a lot of filters, so you know I've been working with a lot of these for years now. Announced pretty well by this point. If I don't, that would be sort of sad. Dude, what are you doing? What are you doing even? That's it. You need to donate that whole synth and stop playing music entirely. It's my only friend in the world. But I gotta get all these pesky freaking cables out of my way because in the way stuff. Yanking cables like a maniac. He's a maniac, maniac on the floor. And she's yanking cables like she has infinite money. Like never before, or something. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, so, all right. So I think the goal here is to just set up a sequence patch of some sort here, just a quick and dirty thing, and swap out things with other things. Boom. Splat. Crunch. You don't have to. Just in the way. Okay, so here we go. So I think the first thing to do is just to say, set up. Let's make it a nice happy minor kind of a sequence. And then have an oscillator that does. Is indeed. We're going to go ultra basic first. All right. So, at the very least, there should be some nifty keen sounds coming out of this bad boy fairly soon. So, I'm going to take I'm going to run an envelope here. Let's run it to Zadar because, well, it's close to all of the filters. Nifty. So we'll just use along this because we're going to move it around. So this is going into the FM, and then this is my low pass out. Hey, Simon, thanks for coming. Yeah, man, you know, I was sitting at home, and I was like, so I've been dealing with this weird legal issue, and it's really not a big deal. It's really not a life-affecting thing. It's just something I have to, you know, it's like a level 2 adulting, you know, just beyond like paying your bills. And it didn't get resolved today, but I at least have a concrete step that I need to go through, and I made a bunch of calls, and I got that stuff going. So right now, it's kind of sort of out of my hands, and it's in process, and got some good news in the process, and, you know, things are looking up. So let's get some 16th notes going here, and then maybe some actual sound. Okay. Why you know do thing? Why you know do thing? It should be playing a whole bunch of notes, going all over the place. It's just like not. There it goes. That's weird. Okay. I'm gonna give it a little bit of reverb. Tiny little bit of delay. Okay, just to give it some ambience, right? So this is the IntelliGel 1U SVF, state variable filter. All right, now, Jesus Lord, what just happened? It's like 7 tabs just opened up. That was weird. Okay, so looking up really quickly the price on this guy, at least in US dollars, this is $139. Now, if that sounds expensive, it's not. It's very cheap. Okay, in fact, it's the cheapest filter that I have in this roundup. Okay, it's mono. You know, I do like my stereo. So let's add a little FM. So, why do I like this filter? It's just so many features for the price. For a mono filter, number one, okay, so it has an input that you can drive to, like, soft clipping. So there it is, kind of like normally. And then you have a setting. Hey, XCOM. Okay, now what's funny about this thing is it is only a 12 dB filter. Okay. You can select a 6 dB boost. Okay, or you can select soft clip, right? So it's like, when it's low, it's in soft clip mode. That's not really overdriving it a ton, because I can't really change the input level. There's no input level here. Okay. it does have a very, very rich sound to it, which is very, very nice. Okay. So, very crispy, very, very nice. All right, so if we go into the high pass out. And we put some negative FM from the envelope, right? Okay, so we get that. All right, and then we also have a bandpass option. And bandpass is really nice. So picture, you know, and if you're not sure what these are, picture this is your whole range of frequencies, right? Let's say this is like 20 to whatever, 20,000 hertz. Bandpass is only letting in one narrow band. So if that happens to be where the notes are playing, you're going to hear those particular notes really clearly. And the low ones are very like wimpy sounding and kind of squished. Now, if we crank up the resonance, it's got a really tasty character that comes out. Turn on the clipping. That's the resonance about 2/3. Okay, cranking it all the way up. New sequence time. So it is really, really, really a lovely sound. Okay. Now let's look at resonance on low pass also. That's 2/3. Let's crank it up all the way. So then the question always becomes, will it acid? So the answer, of course, is unequivocally yes, especially with some clipping. Now you can hear the clipping in the low notes right there. Here, I'll turn it off, and then I'll turn it on. You really get that chunky in the low end. So that is the 1U SVF, which is not my most recent addition to my filters, but it's I think the second newest one being the SEM 20, and we'll get up there. Okay, so let's look at it. The next mono filter would be, I guess, the 860. Okay, so put goes not there. You dumb bastard. Put goes here. So the 860 is based on a Jupiter 6, Roland's Jupiter 6 filter. It is a 24 dB filter, but it also has 12 dB. So you can switch it from 24 to 12. It also has band pass, and it also has high pass. They do all have good characters to them, and they can be overdriven because input levels. Yay, input levels. We all like input levels, okay? We all like it. Let's face it. We just dig it. I want to do a thing really quick here, which is Search engine. Yeah, I had it switched to DuckDuckGo for a little bit, and I'm going to swap it back to Google because DuckDuckGo does not give you shopping results. So this is the Jove 8 filter. Oh, sorry, System 80. Yeah, the 860. Now there is an older version of this and a newer version of this. So the price on this one is $275. That's MSRP from System 80, directly from their website. Okay, 10 HP, which let me think. The 1U, the SVF, the IntelliGel one, that is 20 HP. Yeah, we're gonna hit 100 grit next. Yeah, because I got me one of them. That needs its own episode. Because it's just like, I'm a filter. No, I'm a distortion. I'm a filter. Let's fight. And then and they somehow get along. That's the 100 grit in a nutshell. And then the distortion part is like, I'm gonna take some meth now. And then that's what you get. That's what you end up with. Distortion on meth. I'm just going to do this really quick because I'm OCD. HT. So I'll forget until next time. Here, I don't want you blinking at lights blinking and flashing and blinking and flashing and turn them off. Turn them all off. All right, so the 860 filter. It's non-existent because I turned it off. Still not. Oh, yeah. Input level needs to be turned up. Duh. What I don't want it to do is to go so fast that you can't hear the envelopes anymore. That's a problem. Hey, Surrealist. So this is 24 dB. Now, when we crank the input gain, you start getting a nice subtle overdrive. Here it is without, kind of midway. We crank it up. Oh, not just melodizer. 2 melodizers. Because I love them so much. Right next to a stochastic inspiration generator, which, like, Phineas was like, why do you need your melodizers when you have that? Because I love them. Leave me alone. But it's true. I don't enjoy the SIG as much. The SIG is really useful, and it is a lot of fun. It's a slightly different beast. And it is way more functional in less HP, but there are things that it can't do that the melodizer does really well. You know what I mean? So what I found for the SIG, that's the stochastic inspiration generator, this thing here, it kind of works the same as the melodizer in a way. But what I found really cool for it is using it as a modulation source. Like, my God, it's awesome. Yeah, man, I was looking at the random rhythm multiple times. It's a little bit too big for, for what I was using. And I don't know. I'm not sure what I would sacrifice to fit one in, aside from the SIG. And again, I like the SIG. Yeah, I have the ADAC probabilistic generator right here as well, which is what I kind of tend to use for things like percussion parts and things like modulating your hi-hats for open, so just like every once in a while, just interesting little randomized sequences and stuff. Other than that, the dot sequencer here does most of my basic drum stuff, and I love it. It's fucking great. Yeah, so anyways, 860 filter. Here it is on 12 dB. Now, I'm going to do side by side. You'll hear the differences between the two. I'm going to turn the input gain down a little bit more. All right, so listen to the sweep all the way through the frequency range here. Okay, now comparing that to the 24 dB. So the 24 dB, obviously, you're going to end up with, generally speaking, more low end, because what we're looking at, again, if we think about a shelf, a chart, all right, and if you draw a curve for a 12 dB, I'm going to turn the cutoff like this. I have more high end here. 24 dB is going to be like much steeper. So you're going to have less high end kind of included underneath the ramp of the cutoff. Okay. Now there's other names for those. If you don't know what filters are or what they do and things like that, there are other names for them, like 6 dB, 12 dB, 18 dB, 24 dB. Every 6 dB is what they call a pole. So if you're like, it's a 2-pole filter, that's a 12 dB per octave filter. Okay. 24 dB is kind of like the most common, probably because Moog and ARP started using those, right away from the beginning. So, okay, let's give it some envelope and let's hear what it does. Actually, no, let's hit it on the bandpass. Pretty silky, smooth texture. It's got a sharper bandwidth. I think this is like a 24 dB bandpass, whereas the IntelliGel is just a 12 dB. So you got a little bit more sort of like leakage through the sides of the frequency band in the 1U. This one's very isolated, and you can go even higher if you crank resonance up. No, I don't. I have a Bastel Cinnamon at home, though. And that one is like, it's beefy. I thought about bringing it in today and just like throwing it in the rack temporarily while I did this, but then I got lazy. So, yeah. Also, the Cinnamon is 5 HP, and like, what kind of crack monkey decides on 5 HP? Why you break thing? Why? Go home. Hey, Jason. We're talking about filters today. So here's the high pass. It's a really tasty high pass. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's hit the CV on a reverse. Oh, yeah. Well, and I'm comparing it to the 1U, the IntelliGel, and like, Jesus, man, $275 versus $135, I think I said, or $139 or whatever. Like literally double the price. I guess if you don't have a 1U row. Now, okay, now let me also say that the 860 is built like a goddamn tank, okay? It's one of those modules where the back end is completely encased in sheet metal, right? Not plastic, and it's like steel, right? Which is amazing. Like, I looked at it and I was like, so I used to have an ARP 2600 back in the day, right? And if you opened the back of that up, it was just a solid block of epoxy, which made them almost impossible to work on, which is why it basically made me bankrupt until I sold it. So this one reminds me of that, just in that this block of metal. But it is absolutely a beast. So I would never hesitate to recommend this to anybody. Here's a little envelope going. God, that's smooth. Now again, mono. That's the thing, you know. I'll hear it with a little res. 1/3 resonance. Yeah, I don't think I have a Salin key filter in here. Or I do in the Neutron, the supercritical Neutron. This resonance gets like extreme at like the 2/3 mark, right? And then you keep going. Obviously, it self-resonates. But then the 12 dB, the resonance suddenly just smooths out. And so all the way up, here's the resonance all the way up. And it's like, dude, it's not nearly as much bite as the 24. Here's the 24 again. So, yeah, it's like, it's a world of difference in that thing between the characters of the 12 dB and the 24 dB, which, again, that's a bit of a selling point, I feel. Like, it's like it's a different filter. And, you know, it's pretty lovely. So, let's hear. I'm like, this is going to take the whole time, like, just to hear the 100 grit. Okay, so I'm going to bring this into the FM2 input. All right. 100 grit is a funny beast. All right. Number one, it is billed as more of a distortion, right? So the thing is, right? You need to give it gain. If there's no gain, no sound goes through. Now, what's causing that? That's because I turned up the input gain. So each input, and there are two, each input has a separate gain. This is at 50%. So if we keep turning it up, you hear what just happened? The wave is now a square wave. Now, if you think about what that means in terms of the shape of a sawtooth, turning into a square wave, that means that you are clipping off at least the top 50% of your wave, at least. Otherwise, your ear is not going to hear it as that. It's going to be different, right? But to me, it's a pretty clear square wave or pulse wave like that, okay? And that's pretty wild. So before you even get into the actual gain knob of the filter, that's already giving you some clipping. Now, if we turn up the gain here, all the way, and we'll give it a little envelope. Bring it into FM1 instead. Okay. So it's really nice. It's really smooth. But you have to literally gain stage the filter. Now, here's the thing. Right above the gain knob is a switch. And it says off in the middle, on the right, on the left for plus 100. So if you click it to the right, it's momentary. So it just releases instantly. Click it to the left, it stays on. Okay. Now, when I turn up the input gain now, it's exactly the same. Why? Yeah. Yeah, there are these little brass touch plates on here that, like, cross connect the distortion circuits. No, the thing is, you need to turn up the FM input or the distortion feedback and so on. So what we need to do then is put FM into something else completely, or use it, don't even use it. Like maybe just not use it. And now when you turn up the FM1, you're activating the distortion. And then distortion feedback. And this is, of course, without resonance. So when we add resonance, terrible things happen. It just explodes. There's a second distortion circuit, by the way. Add that here. So, you know, hence the name 100 Grit, right? I mean, it's brutal. Like, if we take it back into like spec here, just normal, we can hear it with the envelope again and with resonance this time. So the 100 Grit will acid, but you've got to be careful with it. In fact, let's experience some of that. Let's have a little acid play around here. I'm sorry, we need at least need a kick drum. Come on, we need a kick drum. Right? Am I right? I think I'm right. I like that guy. Tromp. the 860 is a ladder filter, yes. Okay. So that's a really good question, and that is honestly, that's something I puzzled over for years. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? So it's the architecture. Like, the biggest difference in the ladder filter is that when you add resonance, you take away bass. Okay. And you can definitely hear that, right? In fact, here, I'm going to swap this over to the Popple filter, all right? Because it's time we changed it out. Now, the Popple filter is a bit of an odd duck in a way. It's a stereo filter, sort of. It's really more like two independent mono filters that share a resonance and a cutoff. So you've got two completely separate paths through the system. You have separate FMs for each channel. You have separate outputs. So you can mix. You can be like the left side bandpass and the right side, let's go, 12 dB low pass, and then, whatever. So you can mix and match your outputs however you want, which is kind of cool. So it doesn't really do a lot of good right now for me to hook up an actual stereo path to it because I just have a mono oscillator going into it. But so I'll give you an example here. Resonance off. Okay, now kind of cue in on the bass. But as I turn the resonance up, okay, the bass is pretty much gone. So there you can hear it. Here, come back in. So even a little bit of resonance turns it into sort of like a really gentle bandpass. Okay, and that's a ladder filter. That's just a characteristic of how the circuit is designed. The circuit is designed with like a ladder shape of diodes. Okay, hence the name. In fact, you do hear it like a transistor diode filter or diode ladder filter. I've heard it referred to as a few different things. It's the Moog design and the ARP design. So this is the Popple. It's a 24 dB, like I said, stereo filter. Okay, so that being the case, let's actually hook it up to a stereo source, at least a varied source. Let's maybe I'll use the warp core for that because it does have kind of a nicely brutal sound at times, so we can summon forth some interesting weirdness. The sort of stereo outputs of it are actually phased, 90 degree out of phase with each other. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna also put this envelope into the cutoff. Okay, now the nice thing about that is, of course, now I can just change the level on my envelope using Zadar. Now, here's the weird thing. When you have a control in the cutoff, these FM knobs for each side, left and right, they become sort of an offset. So this is left. I've turned up. Oh, we actually need outputs for both sides, otherwise this isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. There. So oh, yeah, nice. Well, and there are other types of filters, right? People, I don't know, I think there's that assumption that, like, the ladder filter is, like, the fattest sounding filter and this and that. Like, no, because you can get 24 dB filters in a lot of different varieties, right? So there's no, like, fattest. But as a matter of fact, the Moog version of that, you know, or the ladder filter in general, that was kind of the point, was like you add resonance and you take away bass. So you're narrowing your frequency band down, you know, even more. And like for something like the Mini Moog, which is a lead instrument, you know, like I know people play bass on it, but like it, you know, really gained its popularity as a lead instrument, right? And you can just cut through any mix with that with not a lot of resonance. Turn it up like a third. You'll hardly hear it, but you'll get a little bit more sizzle and less bass and like laser people in the ear holes. Yeah, so it's just a different circuit, and we'll see that in a second here on the neutron filter. I kind of want to dial this sound in a little bit more and have it be less shitty, less something. There is some funky left and right phase things going on right now. So one of my annoyances with this filter is if you just want to use the FM knobs to do your FM, it is not normaled. So if I hook this envelope up to like the left input here, right? It's only increasing the left side. Turn the right side all the way up, nothing happens. Okay, which means you bring it into the cutoff control, but then there's no attenuverter on it. Okay, so there's a couple of little trade-offs. This is made by After Later Audio. I've actually got two of these. I've got one in my home system too, and it's really, really nice. Great bang for the buck. 8 HP, you know, 24 dB, and it can scream if you want. You know, it's pretty decent. So here's what we should do. I'm gonna swap out my oscillator for. I'm gonna get the Weston, or should we just use chainsaw? Let's use chainsaw, because like why not? As chainsaw. Okay, so I'm going to put this into the supercritical neutron filter. Now, this is the priciest filter in my rack by a little bit. And I do have a Morpheus, the Rossum Morpheus filter. Okay, so this is a modeling filter, right? And it's pretty phenomenal. Number one, right away, the build quality is like outstanding. The knobs are like knurled metal. They just feel great. You're just like super duper smooth pots and everything. Like it's delicious. Now you can select, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 pole. Okay. And there are like hidden modes in this. It's all kinds of things. Okay, that's the thing. Here, let me find the manual because, to be completely honest, oh God, that's not a word. Did you ever type and then like you move one hand like one key over, and then like what results is just some god awful hieroglyphic demonic chant? You're like, oh, what is that? Yeah, that's what just happened. So, bro. Okay, there's the manual. The manual is just the web page. So, okay. So the first one is their fat model, right? And that's exactly as it sounds. It's just a 24 dB East Coast ladder filter. Okay, that's what I've got it starting on here. So first of all, it's got an input gain. And the nice thing is, if you hold the character button down, you get an extra 20 dB of input gain. And it's beautiful. You can already hear it chunking out, clipping. It's a bit much, right? You know? It does have a stereo spread control that is CD addressable. So you can do pan with this, and then here's just the envelope. Okay. Okay, so here's some resonance. Got a third. And you hardly hear a difference, but you do hear less bass. Turn it down. Let me get some lower tones here. Then if we turn up the resonance. There. So we got the bass kind of getting sucked out of the bottom there. It's at about the halfway point. And we get it back. So, now that's just on one model with one setting. Okay, so you obviously you've got choices. So we can put this on 6-pole filter. We can put it on an 18 dB or 3-pole. And each one has a different character. Then we can do 6-pole. Which adds some feedback into the distortion in the inputs. And then if we do 8-pole, 8-pole gets weird. What it's doing is sequentially doing it. So this really becomes a mono filter. And when we do that, we get some. It's got to be on the right side, though, I think. get some. There it is. So there's some potential for like really interesting mangling as far as like shaping sound. This thing is like second to none. I think it's a pretty extraordinary little guy, you know. But that's just one character, right? And there are like a dozen. There's 5 on the front panel, but then there's a bunch of like Easter egg ones. And I'll be honest, I have not really played with them very much. So, yeah, kind of cool. Some of these are like the Korg type, like here MS-20 type. I think that's the sour. I think that's what they call it. The one is like fat, crisp, liquid, sour, and mean. So here's the mean one. With some resonance. Oh, it's also sweepable from low pass to high pass. So the high pass kind of rips. Let's hear like one more of these characters. About the liquid. I believe this is an SVF variation on our OTA ladder. Okay. Yeah, clean and clear and spacey. So there's no resonance, but you can still detect a little bit. 1/3 resonance. 2/3 resonance. And then all the way up. Oh, wrong knob. Stop that. That's ridiculous. So yeah, this is a beautiful filter. It is chock full of variety and character. CV-ins for the stereo. You can actually CV in the character. So you can have it like swap characters as you play, which is pretty wild. Even the mode knob, and then of course it's got left and right in and out, and then it has an FM here and a volt per octave here. So it's a very, very, very flexible, potent little dude. Do I need to talk about the Morpheus? I don't know. Like, the Morpheus has 1,000 presets, and they're all digital filter emulations. So, like, do the math. My only bitch about the Morpheus is the input gain in it is, like, reliably weak. Like, you have to pretty much go into every preset and, like, crank the input gain up. It's like minus 6 dB. Like, why? You're in Eurorack. Quit it. Quit it. Okay? And it's just weird. And it doesn't make any sense to me. So, let's hit the dual dagger next. By Shakmat. Shakmat from France. It is a dual dagger. Yes. Now, this does not have any tenuverters for anything, but it has a really unique architecture. No input level, but it is stereo. Now, you can link. It has a low pass, high pass, and resonance knob, right? All right, so you can link the two types. Which I really don't notice a huge difference between the two of them, but it's once you start engaging with the high pass and the resonance and stuff. Now, the resonance, you can switch it. You can actually turn it on low pass or high pass. So here it is on low pass. Now, if we turn that switch off, it's gone. If we turn it on the high pass, there's nothing until we start to turn up the high pass. And then it's just like, holy shit, it just got cool. Like, what? That was a low pass. Right, so it's a bit much at that point, but you see there's also a separate input for the high pass filter in terms of modulation. So, like, once you kind of add that in, it's like, okay, it makes sense now. Me personally, I don't like the location of the switches. My fat finger can't really easily get in there without knocking a knob position or this guy right here. That's just me. Take the advice for what it's worth. I wish they were up, but they're not, and you just deal with it. It's really not a big deal, right? Now, it does have a cool little modulation doowacky for either the low pass or the high pass. So if we just stick like a, let's say like a moderately fast LFO in on like low pass, it's doing two things. It's boosting the frequency and it's panning it. If we do it on the other one, it's for the high pass. Leading to all sorts of interesting little sound design choices. So it's kind of cool. Just again, it's like just a different architecture, you know? Okay, new one. Let's do the SEM, the new one. So this is the SEM 20 ST, right? by Bubble Sound. And it has not been existent very long. It's been out about a month. So, all right, number one, has an input gain. Something that's very helpful is that you can take a mono input or a mono CV input. You can put CV in either side, okay? So this is kind of like the Popple in that it has like separate architectures for each channel, but this one did it right. It's all normalized. So you plug something into the left side and it's duplicated over on the right side, which is fucking great. Dude, yes. All right. Here it is with just a little bit of resonance, about a third. Surprising, isn't it? Oh, it has the resonance section from the MS-20 filter architecture. So resonance and feedback into the input amp and stuff like that. Now it's also a tricky little beast. It reminds me a little bit of the 100 Grit in that you kind of have to gain stage it to get interesting results. Okay, so like the input gain means a lot, right? Now it also has an offset frequency on the left. This is the Bubble Sound SEM20ST. So it's ostensibly a SEM filter, okay? A SEM filter is the like a filter on a chip, right? It's what Oberheim used for a long time. A lot of people used them. Prophet 5s. Or whatever, like the Prophets usually used, I think, a SEM filter, right? And it's just on an IC, right? It's just I forget what it's, a Curtis 3360. So I don't even, whatever. You know, it's not important. So this has the normal filter of that, and then he went in and got all cuckoo with the cheese whiz on the resonance section, right? That is a third of the way up for the resonance. Now listen to what happens. We'll put it at a halfway here, okay? Halfway point. Now, at this point, I'd adjust the gain. I'm going to take the gain way down. Doesn't matter as much. Now let's turn the resonance up to about 2/3. It's about the same. You have CV inputs for the resonance level, by the way, for each channel. Now, a really wonderful thing happens when you crank the resonance up all the way. And you start giving it gain. Trying to just ping it right now, and it's not really doing anything. Yeah, I was just kind of curious. Sometimes you got to put white noise into it. So here it is with some Yeah, absolutely. So there's about half resonance with the input gain at a moderate level. When I crank up the input gain, it just gets a grit, and I love it. Now, it also has a sweepable low pass, high pass, okay? But you do have to put it into the right place for that to work, right? And I have a hard time reading the labels are black on white. Okay, so I want basically the two in the middle. So there it is low. Here it is high. Or zero. I think this is a no-pass filter, which is a funky little beast. Alright, so yeah. It's got some interesting options on it. Absolutely. So this is with no resonance. And when I first used this, I was a little bit weirded out by this. Because it seems like the input level was just ultra weak. Right? And that's kind of true, but it's just give it a tiny bit of resonance. And like the whole thing just pops to life, right? It is a funky little beast. That's better. It sounded like it was off the beat. It is off the beat technically, but this fits better. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, Now, one thing about this filter is I will say the left and right frequency CV, very sensitive because they are these small pots. I'm thinking about finding some slimline knobs that slip over the top. They can't be too wide because they're they're real closely spaced, right? Which in and of itself presents a mild issue, right? If I didn't feel like an idiot doing it, that would be a great thing to put like a rubber band right around those two so they move together. But honestly, they don't really feel strong enough to handle the, say, the lateral forces. I mean, it's a pot on a circuit board, right? There's no physical restraint underneath there, unfortunately. What the hell? The chat just logged out? Die in a fire. Oh, now it makes me answer a CAPTCHA. Are you kidding? Jerk face jerk. Come on. Shitting me. How many windows of CAPTCHAs do I have to deal with? There we go. Jesus. Reload the page. Okay, I'll reload the page. All of the past chat history is probably going to be gone, but that's all right. So if you said something within the last 60 seconds or so. Oh, yeah, the page is once again, like, dead. What is going on? All right, I do not have chat right now, unfortunately. That being the case, I guess I'm just going to fire up the YouTube stream, and at least I can watch that for chat. So, you know, give me a second. What a dumb thing. Oh, man. This is even loading slowly. Why? Could be because I'm streaming 1080p for 60 frames per second. That wouldn't have anything to do with it, would it? Can't even load that. All right, you know what? I'm just going to keep blazing on with things. I'll go through one more filter, and then I'm going to hit the road. Oh, we got two of them, though. We got the Ikari and the Zagreb. Damn it. Okay, let's just dive in here. Let's hit the Zagreb first, because, you know, there's like 70 million videos out there on the Ikari, and, you know, it's beautiful, it's mean, it's ugly. It's all of those things. Zagreb by Chaos Devices. No input gain. Con. Okay. 24 dB ladder. Oh yeah, we need a new sequence here. A new tempo. Okay. No resonance, by the way. Still no chat. Everything is dead. My stream still looks okay. No drop frames. No nothing. Alright, so the Zagreb doing its thing. Now it's okay. Okay, so I am watching the chat. Yeah, I'm in the US. Huh. That's really weird. Is knob a naughty word now? I'm gonna blame the English for that. I wish we would use that word more here, because it's an entertaining word. Okay, so here's with a third resonance. Real smooth. Definitely tell it's a ladder filter if you listen to the bass. Two-thirds resonance. Very, very smooth, you know? And then full resonance. Now, does it self-resonate? No, it does not. Alas and alack. But it's really not a big deal. For me, at least. I don't go for that much. So even at full blast, the resonance is like really tolerable, very nice. Okay, so let's give it a little envelope here. Again, this is full resonance. We're about half now. So it's pretty nice, you know. And then none. This is why I love the melodizer, by the way. Be like, oh. Now, the cool thing about the Zagreb is it's got multiple sets of outs. One for the high pass, of course. Full resonance. And we've got an attenuverter for one of the CVNs. Squitchy. Yeah, thonk. No, I don't think thonk is. Maybe it is. I don't know, man. Yeah, so there's our high pass. Now, the genius of this filter is it has a separate chained output, okay? So you've got three different configurations. You've got a low pass 18, high pass 6. Reverse order that, okay? High pass 6. Let me get the light on it because seriously, it's so damn small. Yeah, high pass 6, low pass 18. 12 of each. And then they're flipped. So high pass 18, low pass 6. Okay. So this is the one that's sort of the low pass heavy one here. And it's really nice. It's like this is a voice that you wouldn't necessarily want a ton of bass. Right? Keep it as like a lead or like a mid part, you know? Okay, now if I flip that to the top one, pretty radically different character, right? Put the resonance about half. I'm going to flip it to the 12-12. Imagine if they implemented a knob recorder with the melodizer. Like automate the movements. Holy shit. It'd be the greatest thing ever. So this has a real smooth character to it. No resonance. Almost sounds like it has resonance. So by contrast, this is the low pass output. It's fabulous. Quickly swap this over to the Ikari, just to give you a little taste before I got to take off. Also haven't looked at the moon phase, but, you know, that is an odd duck. I'll tell you that. Still going. Still going. Nope. chat still never loaded, but I saw a little bit of it on YouTube. So yeah. Anyways, well, this was kind of fun. I mean, it turned into a fun little jam, honestly. So yeah, so good times. Thanks for joining me, and hope you got a little bit something out of it. Just a comparison of my favorite subject ever, filters. Yay! I could use some more filters. I do have more. I have more at home. I have the Mankato from STG Sound Labs. I've got the Venetia State Variable filter. That's a nice little 18 dB. It's a little chunky. I got the Bastel Cinnamon. I do have another Popple at home. I've got the Dope for Wasp filter, and it's been modified, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, there's a lot of things lurking around my other system as well. So, um, anyways, we'll probably do another one of these at some point in the future. But for now, I'm gonna hit the road, and I'll see you Friday. Friday night's my next sign session. I usually start somewhere around 5 o'clock Central Time, U.S. And Friday is usually something with some sort of a beat. Sundays are usually generative or ambient of some sort, like spacey, maybe even just like doing like a soundscape or something like that, like a lush soundscape kind of thing. So if that's something you're interested in, come check it out, because it's usually a good jam. I think I do a pretty good job at this point. Getting better and better every time. So yeah.